Jack Chambers, 30 seconds to introduce your question.
I want to ask the Taoiseach and the Minister of Defence when the Working Time Directive will be implemented for members of the Defence Forces, and if you'll make a statement on the matter.
Ministers, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Deputy. As I have previously informed the House, a government decision dated on 18 November 2016 approved the drafting of the heads of bill to amend the Organisation of Working Time Directive. This will remove the exclusion of contained in Section 3 of the Act. As I've stated in my reply to priority questions today, I am not in a position at this stage to indicate a definitive timeline to introduce the appropriate legislation. There is ongoing contact with the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection in this regard. I must emphasise that the repeal of the Section 3 of this Act is only one aspect of the ongoing work. An Internal Defence Forces working group is progressing further work on these matters. As I have previously stated, there is ongoing litigation regarding the application of the Working Time Directive in the Defence Forces. This relates to specific circumstances. However, it limits the extent of which I can discuss the ongoing work. As the Deputy will appreciate, it would be also inappropriate of me to comment on respect of any individual case or the legal strategy with regards to the same. I can assure the Deputy this matter is a priority for the Department of Defence and the Defence Forces, and I have directed that work be progressed as quickly as possible. The Permanent Defence Forces Representative Association will be consulted on all matters as we progress this work.
Deputy Chambers has 1 minute.
Late last year, we learned how a shortage of officers in the Defence Forces have resulted in bomb disposal experts and marine engineers having to work 70 and 65 hours a week respectively without any overtime, and a survey carried out by RACO has highlighted the Government's total disregard of implementing the Working Time Directive, which should cap their working week at 48 hours. Germany, Britain and Sweden have already implemented this Working Time Directive, and the Government has done likewise for the Gardaí. However, despite losing a landmark case last year, and I understand further cases we proceeded in the High Court this year, we're not seeing any material action on this. And a RACO survey showed that officers guarding Portlaoise Prison were doing 65 hours a week. Those on guard duties at Shannon Airport were doing 53 hours a week. And bomb disposal experts, as I've said, doing up to 70 hours a week. And a Naval Service officer of the watch was doing 63 hours a week. Is it not the case that it was only after PD4 assisted one of its members with a court action the Department agreed to discussions on this matter? And our members deserve better. And I want to ask how many meetings have been held with the representative organisations about actually implementing this directive?
Minister has 1 minute.
I'm not sure the specific number of meetings, Deputy, but the nature and duties of military life in general brings demands and are typical to other security and emergency services. And the directive allows for derogations and compensatory rest. As I've already indicated, the Defence Forces have undertaken significant work in examining the nature of the duties of the Defence Forces and how the Working Time Directive can be applied to its members. And I've stated that there is a civil military team working together on this. As I've stated, Deputy Osnagic earlier, that military are to report back to the Department over the next short period regarding some of the work that they have done. But I want to ensure that the representative associations will be fully consulted on the work of this. This is a joint amount of work that has been done between both civil and military. There also is a legislative side to this as well. It's not just as to be able to implement the Working Time Directive overnight. This is a very difficult piece of work, and we have to look at the needs of the organisation going forward. And absolutely, I can understand the frustrations of people, but let me say that when we do this, I want to make sure that we get this absolutely 100% correct.
Representative associations is that PD4 said that they saw more of your officials down at the courts than they had at actual negotiation meetings. So there's a concern there that you're more, as a department perspective, is more concerned with the High Court cases than they are with honouring and addressing this issue in a meaningful way. Like they've said that as of late June 2018, they were managing the Defence Force by saying that if they took their claims, it would delay the process to apply the directive. So they were threatening members and the representative associations who were taking those claims. I don't think that's the way to negotiate a meaningful solution to this issue. And I would ask you, I think the white paper has a core issue. 9,500 as a target, and we know the retention and recruitment crisis. You will never implement the Working Time Directive with that admirable target. I think you need to have a discussion at Cabinet and with your ministers and with DEEPR to actually look at increasing the numbers to try and materially address this issue by reflecting a greater number in terms of the white paper on defence, because you'll never implement the Working Time Directive with your target for numbers. So I think you need to get real about that as a government as well, and I think an update on the white paper would achieve that.
1 minute.
I wouldn't accept that we threatened any association. I would maybe ask them to reflect on the language that they use when they're chatting to you. But I wouldn't accept that for 1 minute. But the most important thing here is it is necessary to ensure that all work arrangements meet all the provisions of the directive, and that there is dialogue between the rep associations, and there has been dialogue in the past, and that dialogue will continue right into the future when we talk about the Working Time Directive. This is a very, very complex piece of work that has to be carried out. On the other side of that, there is litigation being brought forward, and of course we have to be cognizant of the language that I use when I speak about the Working Time Directive. But let me state, Deputy, that the rep associations will be kept fully informed of all on the procedure regarding the Working Time Directive going forward.